Welcome, Solara here. I hope you guys are doing well. Today I am here to do your new moon in Libra eclipse tarot astrology ascension report. I am a day and a half late in recording, well, technically 2 days late in recording this, or 2 days follow, I shouldn't say 2 days late, everything's always right on time. I'm 2 days after the eclipse. My guidance was to wait before doing the message. I was going to do the message on the day of, and I had some other guidance I wanted to be true to. So I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you've utilized the power of these eclipse energies, specifically in the sign of Libra, to help yourself find a new sense of balance, because that's really what it's about. We're going to get into the breakdown of what the chart was on that day, and most importantly, what it's activating for us moving forward, because the eclipse energies are opening a window. So we're going to get into a reading of the chart so you can learn what it's opening a window to, as you know, as the messages come through for me. So for those of you who aren't aware, I am not a classically trained astrologer, not in this lifetime at least. Astrology lives within my cells and my soul, and I unlocked and activated a lot of this wisdom along the way. I utilize the astro chart and the recordings of, the times of the planets and the zodiac wheel, etc., to tune into the energy of what is being spoken through those planets. In other words, I utilize this information astrologically, but I also channel. I channel the luminaries, I channel the planets, and I utilize the power of tarot and numerology to also get extra messages about what is going on. So it's a little bit more of a, multidisciplinary approach than regular astrology, which I really enjoy because in my practice, I've been doing this for a few years now, I've noticed that the story will always come through. So if I miss it in one place, it will come through in another place. So even if I do someone's personal chart and they ask me to stay true to the Vedic astrology of their story, I can still pull out the same energies, because it's not always about how, for me, it's not always about how classical, how you read classical astrology and the rules of that. It's, for me, it's more of a soul attunement exercise than anything. So yes, please know that about me if you're joining for the first time. Yeah, let's get into this. Let's get into it. I want to also take a moment to say thank you to all of you who've shown your love and your support, especially at this crazy time I find myself in with the fuckery that I'm dealing with over on SUBSTACK and with Stripe. Thank you to those of you who have continued to stay on and have supported me and paid your membership via other means. I really do appreciate how not even just the support of staying on, but the encouragement, the messages you've sent me, the way you've uplifted me through this. I really do appreciate you guys, and I thank you and I love you. And this is what it's all about moving forward. These systems and institutions that were designed to continually disempower us and pull us into lower timelines, they are not and will never and have never been our salvation. Our salvation comes from ourselves, and then how we come together in community to help one another rise. And that's going to be even more important as we continue to move deeper into these higher timelines. It's time for us to begin to create together outside of these systems, institutions, groups that try to control our narrative, control our resources, control our minds. Their day is over. They got the memo. They don't want to adhere and concede and to give back actually what it is they've stolen. It's not even a transfer of power per se, because that would mean that they're giving us something that they may have earned over time, and it's just time for it to transfer over to the next person. No, this is what they stole. These fuckers stole everything. And even though they're fucking thieves, they still don't want to give back our shit. But, you know, it is what it is. It's not the right time to be messing with people who are coming into alignment with their divine purpose and truth. It's not. And this is what we're going to talk about today with this new moon eclipse in Libra that just occurred about 48 hours ago now. So if you've been hanging with me for a minute, you'll know that since the 888 portal, especially if you are over on my other channel, Solara Speaks, where I do more, generic readings and talks about the energy in general, especially karmic fuckery. I deal a lot with that over on Solara Speaks. If you were tuning in with me around the 888 portal, I did 2 lives around that time, and I was speaking about this justice portal that we were entering into through the 888 portal. And please understand and overstand, because I'm going to be honest, I get a little bit tired whenever I mention justice, especially in a post, somebody putting in the comments, adding that it has to be done with love, or kind of insinuating that because I'm stating that that justice must come, that I am saying it must be without love, or it must be from a place of hostility. That shows me that you have no idea of what justice is, because justice is rooted in love. If it's not rooted in love, it's not justice. So, I think a lot of the time, and it's not our fault, it's not your fault if you're one of those people. I'm not mad at you per se. But I think a lot of the time in our world, we learn, and this is very purposely done, we think that justice is vengeance. Justice and vengeance are not the same thing. Justice is one of the pillars that upholds the harmony that allows the cosmos to run smoothly. One of the pillars that the High Priestess sits between, one of them is emblematic of justice. The other one is beauty. Okay? And here's the thing. Justice and beauty are both connected to Libra, which we'll get into. If you listened or read my short message for the new moon in Libra eclipse I published yesterday on SUBSTACK and over on my Daily Alchemy with Solara channel here on YouTube, then you probably already heard me say it. If you've been hanging with me for a while, you'll know. Libra is ruled by Venus, and in the tarot, the Libran card is the Justice card. Justice means harmony reinstated, and harmony is what allows for things to be beautiful, for things to come forth in alignment with how they're supposed to be, because the truth is that you didn't come here to suffer and struggle. We didn't come here to suffer and struggle. We came here to be able to tune into and live out and experience the beauty of our infinite souls in material form. And this is what Venus as a planet helps us to do. And Venus, like I said, is Libra's ruler. So the whole point of justice is to bring back harmony where energies have gone astray and brought forth a lot of ugliness and karmic fuckery because of the lack of balance. That's what justice is. And this is why the justice systems of this world oftentimes are not true justice. Yes, they're legal systems, but they're not true justice systems in the sense of what it means cosmologically for all things to be in true harmony and balance. In other words, every single being, every single organic life form must take responsibility for what they use their God codes, their minds, their feelings, their intentions. We must all take responsibility for what we use that power to create. And when we miscreate and we harm ourselves, we harm one another, and we harm the planet, then we bring imbalance, we bring discord, we bring dysfunction and unnecessary destruction. And the wielding of justice is how we are able to bring those things back into alignment, how we are able to rebalance the scales of something that oftentimes we've done or it's been done to us. It doesn't really matter at this point. That's not really what it's about at this, what I'm speaking about at this juncture, but the point is that justice is that beautiful rebalancing of the scales that's possible even though we fuck up, even though someone fucks up. We can still come back to a place of beauty. That is what true repentance is. You know, we've taken words and we've become hyper religious about them, and we don't actually understand the definition of them and what they mean. True repentance means to turn away from something that is bringing imbalance and injustice into your life, into the life of another, onto the earth planes. Okay, so this is important because this is exactly what this eclipse is eclipsing and what it's about. And it's not even just because the sun and the moon were meeting at 10 in Libra, it's because of the degree also, and where they also met Lilith in Libra at 10 degrees. Now, that 10-degree mark is really important because it denotes that something is starting again. Okay, so the last new moon was in Virgo. We had double 11. We had a gateway opening. And now the new moon in Libra, we've got 1 and 0, 10-10 energy. 1 and 0 is binary. The 1 is the masculine energy. The 0 is a feminine component. When they come together, all life can come forth, right? The 1 and the 0 together are what create life. Some would argue well, we won't go there. We'll stay here today. The 1 and the 0 is binary. It's creation code. It's where everything begins and ends, is with the 1 and the 0. 0 acts as a void, a portal, a womb, and 1 is the action that allows for something to grow and gestate in that womb space, the 0. Yeah, so that's what 10 is. In the tarot, that's connected to the Wheel of Fortune, the number 10 card. If you break down 10, it becomes 1. So it's connected to also the Magician as well as the Sun. So when you're dealing with 10, you're dealing with the main energy would be the Wheel of Fortune in the tarot, but also underpinning that energy is the Magician and the Sun. And so what is that telling you about? This is about karmic cycles, the Wheel of Fortune. Or I shouldn't just say karmic cycles, because the Wheel of Fortune, when we're in alignment, we can ride into Dharma, dharmic living, where we're no longer learning our lessons by suffering because of the discord and the injustice we're creating ourselves. So we can live dharmically and we can start to learn lessons where we're not bringing suffering upon ourselves and we're not open, therefore, to other beings also bringing suffering into our realities. Right? So that's the Wheel of Fortune, but underpinning the 10 is the Magician, the latent energy of all creation, the potency that exists, and the elemental ingredients and stuff that we have access to through the Magician to create all things. And then the Sun, which is Leo energy, which is always speaking about coming back into wholeness, into the fullness of alignment in who you are in order to be able to live in accordance with your truth. Okay, so that's underpinning. So these are all themes that are playing out through this new moon eclipse. There are things, what is leaving, what is being eclipsed, what's being eclipsed out of our realities on a personal level, first and foremost, are the ways that we create injustice cycles in our own reality, first and foremost, by not being in proper alignment with self, not being true to self, not being loyal to self. You see, nobody can even have the ability to betray a person who is actually in full loyalty, alignment, union, marriage with self and their power. It's not possible energetically, as within, so without. So whenever we were dealing with these heavy betrayal cycles, it was actually just mirroring back to us how far we had departed from ourselves and our truth. And this is why the closer we come into union with self, the more we're able to see all of those energies that have either betrayed us or want to take us into places of self-betrayal. We can see them, we can spot them more easily, not because they're more rampant, but because we're more in alignment and in cohesion with self, and so those energies start to stick out like a sore thumb. right? So 10-10. This is where this is kind of like a reset energy, but it's also, you know, when you come to the 10, it's the beginning and the end. It's the beginning, something is being born, but at this, simultaneously speaking, something is ending. Because cycles, the nature of cycles, nothing ever ends just definitively and something new begins definitively when you're dealing with cycles. It doesn't. This is why somebody asked in the comments, I think on the last video, I keep on hearing, you know, that the age of Aquarius is here. Some people say it's here and some people say it's not. And my answer to them, and again, this is my opinion, here everyone's welcome to believe what they want to believe. I don't believe there's a definitive date where you can say the age of Aquarius is here. I believe the age of Aquarius has been moving for decades into higher position, and as the age of Aquarius moves higher into position, the age of Pisces is being watered down, and we will get to a point where the age of Pisces will no longer be the dominant energy. In fact, I would argue it no longer is. The age of Aquarius energy is the dominating energy right now, and what we are moving in, the wave that we're moving through right now, is allowing for us to glean the wisdom from the age of Pisces now, so that we can let all of the karmic struggle of that age go. And I believe that when the North Node enters into Pisces, it's going to really help us to do that and to solidify the Piscean wisdom that we need to take forward with us while closing the door on that age now for good. You know, because we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Not everything is ever all bad. There's always value to be accrued from everything. Otherwise, you're not a true creator God being if you're not able to find the value. You're not an alchemist, because there's value in everything. There's value in everything. There's not one thing that exists that doesn't have value. And the more higher your consciousness is, the higher your frequency rises, the more you align with that truth. Which is why the higher consciousness and the higher your frequency is, the more respect you have for all things. Which is why then you're entrusted with more. Beings who are not able to find the value in all things, whether they like them or not, etc., are not equipped to be trusted with big things. They're not. They don't have the consciousness to value everything. So they therefore don't have the consciousness to know how to properly wield the power of having any authority over anyone but themselves. And this is what true leadership is cosmologically, which is why all of these governments and systems and institutions of the old world, you know, they fucked us, because it wasn't about that. They had no value for humanity. They had no value for you, no value for me. Their values were rooted in material wealth and public acclaim and the legacy of leaving something in the earth that has to do with them being famous and all this other shit. And that's not having a real value system. That's a lower consciousness. That's a low frequency being. You want to know what a low frequency being is? You can tell whether a person is in a low frequency or a high frequency based upon their value system. If they value the material solely, if they have more regard for base and material desires, then they are operating at a low frequency. If they are able to find the value in all things, even things they don't like, even people they don't like, if they're able to see the wisdom in that person, the beauty in that person, even they don't want to be around that person, if they're able to glean the value in that person, the value from the experience they've had with that person, if they're able to get a hold of the value, then they are operating at a high frequency. Okay, so let's go. So the false matrix had no value for us as human beings, and this is what this eclipse is very much about too. Okay, so part of the reason why I didn't show up and push myself to do this reading is because I'm done with that energy of constantly pushing myself past my capacity, because I'm too precious for that. You're too precious for that. We are all too precious for that kind of bullying of self. Right? We're not here to push ourselves past our capacity because of other people's expectations or an algorithm or a paycheck, which is what we were all doing in the false matrix. And this eclipse is helping us all to let go of another deeper layer of that energy, because all of the energy harvesting and siphoning tactics of the false matrix utilize their controlling your nervous system in order to get from you. They utilized, their knowledge that they stole from us about how we work emotionally to constantly keep us trapped, cycling through the lower emotions of fear, guilt, and shame, and constantly creating from that place. Right, which kept us constantly in survival mode and therefore constantly in fight or flight, which put all of our nervous systems in heavy duress. And what many of us have been dealing with in these past few years is the decompressing of that. All of that dysregulation began to manifest itself in real time in our lives, because it was time for us to see how much we sacrificed our health for nothing. You know what I mean? For nothing. And this new moon is really helping us to come back into integrity with our preciousness. You are a being of value. You're not here to be devalued for a check. You're not here to kill yourself to get back what it is that is already yours. That's what the false matrix did. You were not sent here without a bounty. You were sent here to have access to everything you would ever need to thrive. But what they did through their governments, their systems, their institutions, their laws, was when we arrived onto this planet, they began to sign us up through the various forms of, identification and indoctrination to begin to have to pay them with our soul energy for our own inheritance, for the things that are rightfully ours, the things that the Divine Mother gave us to thrive. Now we have to go out into the world and work and sacrifice our soul energy to them so that they can illegally live within the bounds, of this earth where they don't belong. So what do I mean by that? Excuse me. The beings who enacted this don't have the right to be here because they are of a lower consciousness, and the earth did not support their vibration. And so the only way they could stay here was to constantly siphon our higher energy and keep us in low states so that the planet would be in a lower vibration, and that they would be able to also maintain the vibration they needed to be here. So literally, we've been here all selling our souls to survive. And so this new moon eclipse in Libra, and the whole time the nodes have been in Aries and Libra, they've been, doing this very powerfully also. All of the nodes all of the signs have a place in this, right? So even when the nodes were in Taurus and Scorpio, it was about reconnecting with our true value. Now, excuse me, as the nodes continue to close out their time in Aries and Libra, it's about the liberation of our energy and our energy fields and our minds so that we live in accordance with the value that Taurus and Scorpio, when the nodes were in Taurus and Scorpio, helped to align us with. Right? So this idea of coming back into alignment through this new moon window, or this window, I should say, that this new moon eclipse has opened for us. It's all about helping justice to return onto the earth planes, and for justice to return to us internally. So I did a reading about this, or a talk about this last year on my other channel, Solara Speaks, about how karmic justice doesn't come in areas until we have sought that justice within ourselves, within our souls. It's as within, so without. Everything that's happening outside of us is a reflection of something that's going on internally, whether those are the settings that we're in because we put ourselves into those settings consciously, or whether those are the settings we're in because unconsciously we've allowed ourselves to be open to manipulation. But either way, it doesn't matter how it got there. What you need to know is your external reality is always a reflection of what is happening in your internal energy field. And that actually is a beautiful thing because it gives you the power to shift your reality in accordance with shifting what's happening in your own energy. Right? So we can't bring justice onto the earth. And again, justice is harmony and our ability to live beautifully all together with connection and reinstatement of the endowment given to us all by our Divine Mother. We can't get to that place until we first open those doors within self. And so this new moon in Libra eclipse is very big on opening that door within self. And this is why Virgo's season was so tough on us too. Virgo is the last sign on the zodiac wheel that deals with self before we begin to take that energy and share it out in the world. First one to another through Libra, and then more vastly through community, work, the world, etc., through the other signs. So Virgo is that checkpoint, like get yourself right energy. Like, where are you putting your energy? What are you believing about yourself? Because whatever you believe about yourself, wherever you're allowing your energy to go, when you go out in communion with other beings, intimately, romantically, platonically, in business, that is the standard that you are working from. So in other words, if you are still in that place of sacrificing yourself, you will probably attract beings that will willingly let you do that. And they will keep you in that position of self-sacrifice because they will be benefiting from your self-sacrifice and your self-betrayal. Excuse me. But if you allow Virgo to show you where you're doing that, if you allow Virgo to help you become so radically honest with your own energetic leaks, then by the time you move into Libra, you start to learn lessons relationally that are rooted on this newfound level of heavy alignment with yourself and your truth and your power, and you begin to magnetize relationships and situations that also begin to reflect that too. You get what I'm saying? So Virgo was about preparing us for this new moon in Libra because it's time for us to bring justice internally so that we can live beautifully with one another in relationship, which actually is so necessary for replenishing the earth. It's not helpful to the earth for us to entertain relationships that are not harmonious for our souls. And there's no way that you can be harmonious with every being on this earth because the way my guides explained it to me, they had me going through some of my old chemistry and organic chemistry notes and looking at the periodic table, and they said, remember how when you were learning chemistry and how there are certain elements that can't mix. They can't work together because of the bonds they form. They can be highly reactive, and they're therefore not, a nuclear bomb, for example, is created by putting together elements that are highly reactive and in the right environment. When they're activated, it's going to cause a really detrimental reaction, right? Those elements by themselves are okay, but when you put them together, they can be highly corrosive, highly reactive, highly flammable. You get what I'm saying? So we're like the periodic table. We're not all here to be together kumbayaing when our bonds are sometimes reactive, and then denying and suppressing that truth and lying to ourselves, and therefore creating actually more karmic energies that the earth is taking on, and it's causing discord and war and suffering and struggle on the earth planes. So when we are choosing, excuse me, I'm sorry. When we are choosing to love ourselves, and we are choosing to therefore align with beings who love us lavishly, who respect us in return, and we're doing the same for them, we are doing a beautiful work for the harmony of the earth. Which is why a lot of the time in my disclaimer, I will say, if you don't like me, go away. It's not an ego thing. I could care less if you don't like me. It's an energetic thing. Because it means if you are trying to push yourself in my energy and you don't like me, you are creating this force, this energetic force that our earth is having to absorb, because you won't take responsibility for the fact that you don't like me, and you therefore shouldn't be in my energy. Because I'm not pushing myself into your reality. I don't push myself into people's realities that I don't like. I don't do it anymore. I don't try to force things anymore. You know? So anytime we're trying to force things, push ourselves in places where we don't belong, align ourselves with people who we're not in alignment with, pretend that we like people when deep down inside we're envious, be in people's energy that we actually can't stand because we just want to be nosy or whatever it is. You know, there's so many, whims that people have and desires and habits. When we do that, it's not even just about what we're doing to that person. We're actually harming the earth. We're harming the frequential bandwidth of the earth, because everything has its harmonious union. The lowest resonating energies, the lowest frequencies, the lowest consciousnesses have other beings that they are in harmonious union with. And when they are trying to knock on the door and be in our reality, they're causing disharmony. When we're trying to pull them up when they don't belong with us, they belong over there with someone else or something else, we are causing disharmony. We think it's nice a lot of the time, but it's not if they're out of frequential alignment. And this is what we have to learn as beings again, because we've forgotten that, because we've been programmed into all of these social engineering cues where we're told that this is how we're supposed to be, to come across as being a certain way to other people, or even to come across as being a certain way to ourselves. But it's not about coming across in any way. Energy don't lie. If something is out of bounds, it's going to cause an issue, energetically speaking, that the earth then has to pay for. It's so much deeper than our courtesies or our egos. Right? So this new moon in Libra, excuse me, this new moon in Libra, the 10-10 energy, it's about all of us learning how to take such responsibility for the justice that we want to come forth on the earth planes by first and foremost honoring the justice we need to feel justified in the wholeness of who we are. In other words, there's no more sacrificing what it is that you need for the comfort of something or someone else, or for a rule. We're all learning how to shed another layer of that. And this is why you're going to continue to see the workforce collapse. People are walking away from jobs. People are choosing to, to voluntarily, leave their homes, because, this is not it. It's not it. And it's because we are actually coming back into alignment with our value, as opposed to all those things we were lied to and told we were supposed to put our precious life force into, their fucked up fake value system where they had us accruing nothing but pain, and nothing to show for it really, but pain and sickness. Because even if you got something material in a couple of days, a couple of hours, a couple of weeks, it fades away, and if it doesn't fade away, you don't want it anymore. You're on to the next thing. So what do you have to show for all of your selling of your solar energy and your life force at the end of the day in this false matrix? You ain't got nothing. The only ones who have anything to show are the ones who were the big thieves that don't belong here to begin with. And they built that off of us. It's not even theirs. Cosmologically, like energetically speaking, it's not even theirs. So this is what, like, it's a big checkpoint, this new moon in Libra eclipse, also because this is the last moon that's occurring in, well, no, the full moon in Aries will be the last moon that's occurring in the Libra-Aries axis while the nodes are in those two signs. Right? So, excuse me. This is all about rebirthing. We're birthing right now, but everything is dying simultaneously. And in today's Sunrise Salutation on SUBSTACK, I spoke about that. Like, many of you, many of us, we are in the new earth. I know it may not feel like it because you're in the new earth and you're still dealing with the dying of the old. That's that 10 energy. And as such, the things that you used to do, that would get you through in the old world, you can't apply it in the new earth anymore. And when you try, it doesn't work for you. It collapses, or it doesn't work because we have to find a new way of doing things. We have to reconnect with our ability to pull things out of the ethers that weren't here before. We have to learn how to do those things again, because this is what we signed up for. We didn't sign up to have a new earth where we bring forth the old world principles. No, we didn't. Yes, we can bring forth the wisdom, but if we're bringing forth the things from the old world, then what's the point? You know, so as the old world collapses and you step into these newer timelines, they feel foreign, and you want to do the things that you did that would sustain you in the old world, and you find that they just don't work. And that's a good place to be, because it means that you are being open and learning to how to create your reality from these new earth templates. But it's uncomfortable as fuck because it creates more uncertainty. So, 10 degrees Libra. So the sun in Libra at 10 degrees, the moon in Libra at 10 degrees, it's sun and moon card, right? Libra is the Empress as well as the Justice card. So when you're dealing with Libra energy, you are dealing with birthing energy also, because you're dealing with the opening to the second half of the zodiac wheel. So that in and of itself is kind of a portal energy. You're entering into a birthing portal through Libra. The 10-degree energy is represented in the tarot by the Four of Swords. So it's right on the cusp of the Three of Swords, moving into the Four of Swords. The 10, it's the doorway into the Four of Swords. And what is the Four of Swords energy? Yeah. The Four of Swords energy is the rest and the recuperation that must come after the birthing. Right? Four of Swords energy is the rest and the recuperation that must come after the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords in the tarot often has to do with heartbreak. It has to do with what occurs when you allow energies that are external into your reality, that are discordant with who you are, and therefore create power struggles within your external reality or within yourself internally. These are the energies that cause you to begin to doubt yourself and make bad decisions and create from a template of doubt instead of self-honor and stability in self and who you are. That's the Three of Swords. Three of Swords is connected to heartbreak, but it's very much connected to heartbreak that has to do with the decisions we make with our mind based upon doubt and confusion, or the doubt and the confusion that is brought into our reality because we've trusted our hearts with something or somebody who actually doesn't have our best interest. at heart. That creates the Three of Swords energies, right? And then when you get to the Four of Swords, it's time to recover. It's time to recuperate from the betrayal. It's time to find your stability. When you get to Four, it's always about the establishment of a foundation. It's time to find your mental stability. It's time to find your emotional equilibrium. It's time for you to rest so that the new cycle can begin to be born, and not from a place of duress. The Four is connected to Emperor energy. This shows me that through this new moon in Libra, there's a new foundation that is wanting to be built, but the new foundation that wants to come forth has to be born from justice. It has to be born from our ability to have been reconnected with what it is that allows for us to birth beauty in accordance with who we are divinely again on the earth. There's no more, in other words, creating from this place of anxiety, stress, desperation. That's what so many of us were creating from. You know, I've shared with many of you, like, when everything happened for me on Substack, the first thing I wanted to do was go into like recovery mode, like figure out a way to do this. And my guide said, no, that's not what we're doing anymore. Whatever you create right now, you're not creating in desperation. You're not creating in fear, anxiety. Everything that you create must have a new matrix and a new foundation that is rooted in peace. And this is what this new moon in Libra eclipse is wanting to help us to begin to establish: foundations of peace, foundations where true justice, harmony, balance can flourish and bring back beauty onto the earth. So a lot of we're really at a time in the Earth's timelines where we're seeing a pivot and a shift, because up until this new moon in Libra this year, it's been about getting to the foundational inception wounds from the false matrix, where the false matrix entered into our reality. It's been about getting to that matrix, getting to that, the motherboard of that energy, getting to the seeds that planted that to begin with, and plucking it out from our energy fields. That's what it's been about, right? And now with this new moon in Libra, this eclipse, and this 10 energy, and this Four of Swords, the focus is, okay, you've done that. You know, you've done that, and now it's time to create a new foundation, a new motherboard, a new matrix from which the new world that you're creating personally and then collectively is going to be founded upon. So if the false matrix, the motherboard energy, the foundations, the seeds that created that shit was born out of discord and self-betrayal and betraying one another and ego and pursuits for greed and power and all that other shit, and this is what we birthed as a result, because the birthing energies will always be true to the foundation and the motherboard. That's just science, right? So if that's what we created from that motherboard, from that matrix, from that foundation, from those seeds, then right now we are being invited to figure out a new way to create a new motherboard, a new matrix, a new foundation, to decide what seeds we want to plant to move forward in the new world. So that's what the main energy. So there's a shift now. It's no longer about the clearing. I mean, yes, because things must die. Like I said, cycles, as they begin, the old ones die out at the same time. But where the focus up until this point has been so heavy on clearing and purging, it's about to shift into now creating and laying down. And also being given the ability to do that too. Right? And right now, everything is haywire. So you might not know where you're going to get that ability, because everything's been cleansed and cleared and washed away. So where am I going to get the finances to start this? Where am I going to be able to get the money to build this new platform and blah, blah, blah. You know, that would be me personally. And for you, it will be, you know, different things. Where am I going to do this? And And then that the wisdom that's coming forth is you don't have to worry about where it's coming from. Focus on coming into alignment with your own worth internally, and everything that you need to build what you came here to do on this new earth will come to you. That's how it always should have been. So now you're learning, we're learning, I'm learning how to do that again. And that's hard as fuck, because we've lived in a world where we've always been told that if you want to eat, you got to strive. You got to do this, you got to chase, you got to grind, you got to hustle, you got to get that bag. Right? But that's not what you came here to do. That's all false, that's all indoctrination to continually keep you selling your soul and your life force to get scraps and crumbs of what it is that is actually already yours. Like literally what they had us doing, it's like you were your divine mother and father left you a £1 million endowment, and you came onto the earth and they said, oh, we'll let you have bits and pieces of that, but we're going to you're going to have to work for that, and you're going to have to do everything it's that narcissist dangling carrot. You're going to have to go to school and show that you're approved for that, and then depending on how well you do in school and whether you say the right things and move with the right people, then we might give you a little bit just so that you can live, but we'll never give you access to the whole thing at once. We'll make you continually slave and jump through hoops and earn what it is that actually was already yours to begin with, that you never had to work a day in your life or do any of the shit they told you to do to have. And then still you don't get it all. And then they charge you interest, all this other shit. Like, this isn't what you came here to do. And the more that we keep on pushing ourselves into living in ways that align with their false value systems and what they had us doing in order to get the crumbs that they gave us from our own inheritances, the more we're going to get smacked on the hand by the divine and be like, no, go sit in the corner now and remember who the fuck you are. Remember your value. This is not what you came here for. It's enough of that. You're not here to suffer like that anymore, and you're putting yourself through the suffering now because there's no need for it anymore. It's time for a new way. And so Mercury is speaking to us about that too, because Mercury is at 11 degrees Libra and Venus is at 11 degrees Scorpio. So we got that 11-11 energy coming through again with this new moon in a different way. You know, in the last new moon, obviously it was the sun and the moon at 11 degrees Virgo. But we've got Mercury and Venus at this 11 degree energy, creating an 11-11 energy again, age of Aquarius. 11 is the degree, as far as I'm concerned, that connects us with stargates, which shows me there's a gate that's opening, or there's a gate that opened through this new moon in Libra. And what would those gates be? Well, with Mercury expressing through 11 degrees Libra, these are the gates that are opening back into our ability to rest. Okay, because Mercury is the magician, Libra is the Empress, the Justice card, and the 11 degree mark of Libra in the minor arcana is the Four of Swords. So Mercury is opening the gates, not just into rest for the sake of rest, but rest for the sake of alignment with what it is that gives you back your abundance and your ability to live harmoniously with yourself and to create from that place. Right? So that's what I'm getting with the Mercury. And Mercury will also come in and open the door, open the gate, but also because it's Mercury energy, it will start to reconnect me with the resources we need, the information, the downloads we need to begin to know how to use our new tools. And they're not new tools, they're old tools. They're new tools because we haven't used them here on this earth in millennia. But these are tools that we're becoming reacquainted with, because once upon a time, we lived quantumly on the earth planes, and it wasn't anything we had to think about. We didn't even have to have a word for it. We didn't have to say it was quantum, because it was just life, right? It was just who we were. And we've forgotten that through millennia of devaluation and deprogramming ourselves out of our status. And now we're getting those tools back, but those tools will only come back to you as you rest. If we're out there chasing, we're not going to get the tools we need. We're going to miss it again, and we're going to get put in the corner. Trust me, I know. From experience, we're going to get put in the corner, you know? And we have to learn how to trust in our own ability to look after ourselves outside of the false matrix and its systems. And we have to do that, many of us, on an energetic level, because we don't have, many of us don't yet have the capital, whatever it is that some other beings have acquired. We don't have that yet, and there's a reason you don't have it. It's not a bad thing. You're not behind. If you don't have it yet, it's because you are from, you are likely from a higher frequency where you are being challenged to pull things out ex nihilo again, to open the gates for other beings to do that too. We all have our place in this new world. There are some people who already are in the new earth and they have access to wealth. Those are the ones that are here, if they're walking in alignment, to begin to distribute that amongst the people. You get what I'm saying? And then there are some beings who are grand holders of wealth who haven't touched any of it yet, because you're here to reconnect with it through the what's the word, like the reacquaintance and the reacclimation with your true divine tools that allow you to, again, like I said, create ex nihilo, create out of nothing, pull stuff out of the ethers. You were working with a time-space continuum that caused everything to be on a delay. And the time-space continuum, it's not like not without merit or not without value, but it's not for everyone. But you were trapped in it like it was for you, some of you, and it wasn't. But you think it is. And you have to break the mental program. Libra is about breaking the mental and the emotional programs that keep you out of harmony with your power and your truth. Okay, so Venus in Scorpio at 11 degrees. Venus, of course, is the Empress energy. Venus is one of the planetary energies of the moment. With the new moon in Libra eclipse, with, like I said before, Libra being under Venus's domain, right, dominion. So Venus, Venus, if you've been rolling with me for a while, you know that Venus feels you have a right to live beautifully. That's one of the provisos of the Divine Mother, is that you have a right to live in beauty, but you have a right to live in beauty in accordance with you utilizing your own creative abilities to do that. So in other words, if you want to create shit because you don't want to be internally aligned, that's on you. That's on me, you know? But Venus, when she's holding you up to your worth, she says you have a right to live beautifully. Get it together and tune into all this beauty that lives and exists within you, that you're here to share with the planet. You're here to share with other beings. If you are locking away your beauty from yourself, how are you going to beautify the earth? How are you going to bring harmony and justice onto the earth planes? How are you going to do that? And that's what the false matrix wanted you doing, locking your beauty away from yourself. So you'd walk around constantly in like this self-deprecatory mode, where you thought you were being humble, but really you were just locking yourself out of your power. And then every time you began to touch a little bit of your beauty and to own it and to feel it, then you'd have the fucking assholes that were the upholders of the false matrix try to push you back down and make you feel bad for being big, for being bold, for being bright. Man, I wish I could roll in my R's when I say bright. Because really, they didn't like that. But why didn't they like that? Because for as long, if you were tuning into that, then you were beginning to unlock the beauty that resides within you. that allows to bring back harmony onto the earth planes. That is your key to your abundance. They don't want you connecting with that, because then they can't steal from you anymore. They can't have you in the lower frequency where you're hating yourself and ashamed of yourself. And they can steal from you in that way. They can steal your light. They can steal your confidence. So they don't want you rising. They only let some people appear to rise in the false matrix, all their fake-ass celebrities. That really, they're not really rising, because now you're seeing behind the scenes what actually they have to go through, the abuse that they're going through, the abusive rituals and tactics that they're putting other people through in order to appear a certain way in the world, because they're not truly shining. Not shining internally. Everything was just created, through deception and covers and pretense. But it was never real. That's not true celebrity. That's not true shine. The true stars of the world were the ones who they were constantly trying to dim, because of the true star power they had. And that's not about being in front of the world and all that other shit. That's not what true star power is. The true star power are those of you that have a caliber of soul beauty, that when it's unlocked, it harmonizes the grids. It's not even about what other people see or think. It doesn't matter. Your power, when you unlock it, shifts the frequency of the fucking earth, which is why they didn't want you tuning into it. That's so much more powerful than manipulating minds and hearts that are already out of alignment with themselves anyway. It's easy to manipulate a mind and a heart that is already in full self-betrayal mode. It's easy to impress beings like that with a little bit of glitter. But true stars are those of you who have a deep soul beauty and wealth, that when you begin to unlock it and when other beings see it in you and no longer deny it in you and want to see it grow in you, you're literally harmonizing the grids. You're literally harmonizing the energies that allow for us all to live beautifully and to enter into abundance. That's star power. That's what Venus at 11 degrees in Scorpio is opening the gates into, because Scorpio energy is a gatekeeping energy. And not gatekeeping in the negative sense of the word. There has to be gatekeeping. There has to be gatekeeping in order that everything and everyone resides where they're supposed to be. It's not about keeping things back from people. It's just about making sure that everyone has what they need in order to thrive in accordance with who they are. You're not going to give a 5-year-old, a King James version of the Bible that was written and published in 1602 and give it to them and tell them to break it down and expect them to have authority over that word. It's not going to happen, right? So it's not gatekeeping in the sense of keeping back wisdom and knowledge. It's distributing in accordance with what it is that we all are here to align with, right? So in the grand scheme of the cosmos, there's no trying to keep knowledge for self without sharing it with others. It's not what it's about at all. But there is the monitoring so that everything moves in accordance harmoniously with who and what it is at its best. The gatekeeping of the false matrix was designed to lock people out and keep a certain few in secret circles using that power and that knowledge to keep others down. It's not what I'm talking about. So Scorpio is the keys to the kingdom. This is why Scorpio, you don't get the keys to heaven unless you go to hell. Scorpio will drag your ass all the way down into the lowest depths of hell within your own soul, because it's only when you touch ground there that you're able to be liberated all the way into the highest truth about who you are. So Scorpio truly gives you the keys to the kingdom, because everything, every way you're able to travel, whether it's expanding your consciousness or literally traveling from one state to another, jumping from one timeline to another, you do that through your emotions. You do that through the waters. Scorpio shows you how to get to all places through fine emotional attunement that can only come when you are really so in alignment with every aspect of who you are and the full expression of yourself, which other people find to be really fucking threatening. They don't like it. When you are so in touch, not only with your light, but with your dark, you threaten people, because it means that you have all access at that point. You're not afraid of your shadow, and you're not afraid also to rise up and to say how enlightened or ascended you are. And the only reason you're enlightened or ascended is because you're not afraid of your shadow. It's because you've danced with your own hindrances and limitations and nastiness. You've danced with it all, and you've accepted it, and you've taken it back on board, and you realize that you don't have to use it, but it's still a part of you. Everything in the false matrix, especially false light spirituality, wants to keep you locked out of your shadow, but your shadow is your ticket back up. Can't get into the heavenlies if you don't first dive down there. That's what the story of the Persephone story, that, the Demeter Persephone story is partly there to teach us. That's the soul wisdom. So Venus and Scorpio at 11 degrees, this is all about the access, the re-access of our beauty timelines and the foundations that we build them on. We can't build a solid foundation when we're not 100% true to who we are and self. We will continue to create foundations that are phony. Venus and Scorpio at 11 degrees wants you not to create foundations that are phony anymore. Take your time. Take your time. Come into balance within yourself, not in accordance with what every other being is telling you need to do. You should do this, you should feel. No. What is it that your soul needs to be in harmony? Some of you have more darkness than light because you're shadow workers. Some of you have more light than darkness because you're way showers. Neither one of you are better than the other. You are both of incredible, immense value and worth. But you can't tell the shadow worker to do the same thing as the way shower. You can't. You will be pulling that shadow worker out of the truth of what it is they're here to do, and vice versa. And I'm just using it as an example, because many of us are both. We're way showers and we're shadow workers. We know how to move between the realms and go from one place to another, and to apply those characteristics to every situation, because we're fucking multidimensional, which beings find to be threatening. They want you to be the static, predictable, fucking NPC-like character. It's just like, no. No. I can take you to the heavens, and I can also drag you into hell. Depends on what you're deciding to do today. You want to go and you want to take a ride and get to the depths of your shadow and no longer be afraid of it? I'm your person. You want to ride to the top and know and see the glory of who you are? I'm also your person. I have a lot of Scorpio energy. So many of us are here to not be one-dimensional. We're here to be multifaceted, multidimensional, have multidisciplinary approaches. And enough with that old world fuckery that made you feel as if you were irresponsible or less than or, not equipped for life because you're good at many things. You're a threat to them. That's why they try to make you feel small. You're supposed to be good at many things. If that's who you are, you're supposed to be good at many things. Mars in Cancer at 15 degrees. Oh wait, let's break down the tarot. Venus is, of course, the Empress, Scorpio, 3 cards, Death card, Tower card, Judgment card. 11 degrees is 6 of Cups. Whenever you're dealing with 6, you're dealing with divine contracts. Cups, emotional energy. So also this is dealing with the foundations that are necessary for bringing back onto the earth planes true, harmonious relationships, Venus and Scorpio. Mars in Cancer, so we're already in our, and Mars in Cancer at 15 degrees. So Mars is the Tower card, and then Cancer is the Chariot, right, and the Moon to a lesser extent. And the 15 degree mark of Cancer is the 3 of Cups. So Mars is fighting also. Whenever you're dealing with Cancer, you are dealing with the grid lines of the earth planes. You are dealing with the emotional constructs, the emotional foundations that create the earth's collective frequency. So in other words, the false matrix had us all purposely locked in lower emotional realities that constantly had us cycling through fear, guilt, and shame, because it allowed the grids to be fed that energy, so that therefore the earth's frequency was always low, always in that fear, guilt, shame vibration. Mars is fighting through that. The 15 degree, 15 in the tarot is the devil. That's to do with the things that bind you wrongfully to the material. Bind you to things that keep you too materially obsessed when you're a being who needs to find balance, excuse me, on all planes. I apologize, I am going through throat chakra activations too, as you can see. Okay, so Mars in Cancer, I love Mars in Cancer energy. I know in regular astrology, I think Mars in Cancer is supposed to be in detriment or whatever. I don't think any planet, when it's moving through any sign, is ever in detriment. I think it just hits a level of wisdom or medicine that sometimes makes us feel uncomfortable, but it's needed. Mars in Cancer is here to destroy the fake foundations that have fed those fear, guilt, shame, trauma templates that had us locked, enchanted, enslaved, bound. That's what it's doing through this new moon eclipse. And not for nothing, the Cancer energy works very beautifully with the Libran energy because they're cardinal water, cardinal air. So cardinal energy sets shit off. Something is being set off through this eclipse in all ways. So Mars is, and this is also to do with a lot of the work we were doing through the Cancer when the Sun was in Cancer, right? So a lot of the clearing away of that debris, of all of the healing that we went through. Cancer energy has to do with our deep mother wounds, our attachment issues, our inability to meaningfully attach with others because of all of the trauma cycles. Mars is helping to clear that away. That's the 3 of Cups also. I also, before I go any further, I want to speak about Lilith in Libra at 10 degrees, conjuncting the Sun and the Moon in this eclipse. Lilith gets a bad rap. I love Lilith. Lilith has been said to be Adam's original wife who was disobedient and unsubmissive to him. But I don't think that's true. I think that's the patriarchal story that was made in order to keep us constantly in this energy internally at war with the Divine Mother who adores us and fights for us. I don't buy the story that anything can be born from a man. Eve was not born from a man, and if she was, that means that, well, we won't go there. Let's just put it this way. Lilith, if you're looking at it from folklore, was the original woman. And if anyone came from anyone, it was probably Adam who came from Lilith. And I know that's a little controversial. I'm not open to argument here, you know. I'm not trying to get you to believe anything I'm saying. This is how I see it. Lilith was demonized because she refused to, the story goes, Adam wanted her only to have sex with him, with her being beneath him. And she said, no, I want to get on top and have fun too. And he got mad at her. That's how the story goes, apparently. Okay? Like many of the dark feminine energies, Lilith has been demonized, castigated, and her story has been twisted to make us afraid of our divine feminine dark power. And the reason why they wanted us afraid of our divine feminine dark power is because the divine feminine dark power is that mother energy that places boundaries against fuckery. She is the energy that rises up and says, you may not pass here. You don't have the right to be here. You are an abuser. You don't have value for me. You don't have value for my child. That's what the dark feminine energy does. She is a voice for those who have been persecuted, abused, had their energy constantly siphoned. And this is why in the false matrix they wanted you having a fear and hating all of these dark feminine energies, because they didn't want you ever protecting your energy body. They wanted you open to harvesting. Okay, and there's a whole bunch of ways they implemented that, which I won't get into. I probably will get into that when Solara speaks. There's a whole bunch of ways they had you constantly opening your fields and not protecting yourself so that they could constantly manipulate your energy. And these dark feminine energies are your protectors. They are your boundary keepers. They are the ones who rise up and bring forth justice. Medusa, Lilith, Kali Ma, all of these dark feminine energies are here to put you back into alignment when these violent energies want to take you out. They are defenders of women and children. And I'm not just talking about women and children as people. I'm talking about your divine feminine right to create and to live beautifully and bountifully, and your inner child that connects you to that ability and wisdom. And those are the energies that the false matrix constantly tried to kill in you. Your divine feminine creativity, connection to abundance, and ability to create out of nothing. That comes through the feminine energy, whether you're a man, woman, non-binary, it doesn't matter. This is why they wanted it attacked. The children energy, inner child. Your inner child is one of your greatest guides in keeping you pure, keeping you innocent, keeping you in alignment with your soul's purpose, truth, and destiny. They wanted that killed in you too. The Divine Mother is that emblem that rises up and protects your divine feminine and inner child energy, and this is why they wanted you at war with her. This is why. And this Lilith at 10 degrees Libra says, I'm back. Try to mess with my children now. Try to mess with the divine feminine creative energy now that is responsible for bringing forth the harmony and the beauty on the earth that is necessary for all things to live bountifully, beautifully, and in alignment with who and what they are. I'm back. Jupiter in Gemini at 21 degrees. Jupiter is the wheel of fortune. Gemini, of course, is the lovers. And the magician, to a lesser extent. 21 degrees is the world card. It's connected to the world card, but 21 degrees Gemini is the 10 of swords. So this new moon in Libra eclipse, Jupiter is expanding us, breaking us out, giving us justice for some of the mind control energies that have had us stuck in the karmic cycles. This is breaking us free of that with this Jupiter energy. This is where I'm being told I should stop. I'm just taking a look at everything else. These are the main messages that want to come through for you for the new moon in Libra. Finally, we can just take a quick glance at the nodes. The north node and the south node are both at 6 degrees, or were at 6 degrees Aries and Libra respectively. 6-6 energy. That in and of itself is showing you that there's a new balance, new contracts, new divine energies being materialized through this window, right? And a very specifically feminine energy is coming through, okay? And the feminine energies are coming through because it's time for us to reconnect with our creative templates. It's again through your feminine energy that you create. The feminine energy is how you birth new worlds and new realities. It's the portal through which all life enters this planet, is through the feminine energy. Through a woman's body is one depiction about this, but I'm talking about energy in general, which is why they wanted us all at war with our feminine energy and everything that reflects and embodies feminine energy, which includes proper adherence to rest cycles, proper homage to seasons and individuality and what every being needs to thrive, instead of formulaic approaches designed to lift some people up while others are left struggling. That's not true. That's not true mother energy. What we've been living with on this planet, we've been living as orphans. This has been orphan energy and stepmother energy. You know, not that stepmothers don't care about their children. That's not what I'm saying at all. You might be a stepmother and you might have taken that mantle seriously. But I'm talking about like the stepmother energy of folklore, which is why they created that also, because they have to show you what they're actually doing. That Cinderella story is a story of the matrix, the false matrix. So, yeah. I was going to say something and now I forgot. Anyway, I hope that this Ascension report was helpful, enlightening, inspiring. If it wasn't, make sure to do the YouTube thing, like, share, comment, subscribe. If you would like to work with me, then all information for that will be in the description box below. If you would like to donate to the channel, to my liberation and my ability to create and do what it is I came here to do, you can do so right now only through my PayPal, if you'd like to do that. I do have another group session coming up, and it's going to be more in a class format, so you can check the community board for when that's going to happen. It probably will be next Saturday, October the 12th. And I will detail in the community board how you can be a part of that, as well as what you can expect from your time with me. But it is going to be very much centered around justice codes, rising back into justice timelines, your true justice timelines. And your true justice timelines are those timelines that allow for you to live in such high alignment with who you are cosmologically that you naturally bring back the beauty that your soul loves, that has been locked in your soul. You bring it back onto the earth plane. So, yes, thank you again for all your love and your support. I will see you again next time for the full moon in Aries, which is always crunk. It's one of my favorite full moons. I will see you then. Take care.